Good morning and welcome to the Donnie Glover Show. Hope that you're doing well out there in TV land. So it's a little nippy outside, but spring is in full effect. Spring is in full effect. This is still Women's History Month. We have a Black Wall Street event tonight, and we will be honoring a number of people, about 10 honorees, including Shalonda Stokes. Of course, she runs downtown Baltimore, downtown Partnership. And then we also, one of our 10 honorees is Marilyn Mosby, Baltimore City State's Attorney. We also have Jay Lee coming. Jay Lee has the Bomb City Entertainment clothing line, as well as about 7 other honorees. So we'll be down at Hoodfellas tonight. Hoodfellas is the new black bistro, black owned, in downtown Baltimore, located at 7 North Calvert Street in the Muncie building. 1 second, please. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. I'm on the air until 10 o'clock. I'm on air until 10 o'clock. All right. Thank you. Excuse me, folks. Checking on some important information. But we're honoring some women tonight. This is still Women's History Month. And I wanted to take a moment and acknowledge, number one, my mom, one of the first home owners in the 1500 block of Moreland Avenue. That's back when West Baltimore was very non-black. That was the time my daddy would say black people couldn't live above North Avenue, couldn't live west of Fulton Avenue. But around 52, 53, 54, blacks started moving west of Fulton Avenue. Segregation was being pulled down. I was reminded yesterday of how Baltimore Polytechnic Institute was the first school to integrate, and this was before the Brown v. Board, was it Brown versus Board of Education decision. Separate but equal, separate but unequal, and all of that. Baltimore Polytechnic. I'm also reminded that it was a lot of the black men who attended Poly who helped push then for a co-ed type of Baltimore Polytechnic, because originally Poly was all white males. Little Baltimore history. But my mom, wanted to acknowledge my mom, Lily Glover, homeowner, entrepreneur, nurse. She also was a seamstress. She taught me how to make money multiple ways. You have to have multiple streams of income. And this was long before we had all of these different forms, different business models, these, pyramid schemes. Moms was on through the multiple streams of income a long time ago. And shout out to both of my grandmas, Flossie Rivers and Mary Murray. Both of them belonged to Perkins Square Baptist Church. Both of them were in a Masonic order, Daughters of the Sphinx, over there on McCullough Street. How many of y'all parents and grandparents were Masonic? You know, men wore the fezzes, women wore the white fezzes with the tassel. They're still around. These institutions are still around. Maybe not as well. I don't know how popular they are these days. I know in my dad's day, people were wearing, the Masonic guys. They wore maybe a ring. Now you see Masonic guys. They got. I wouldn't be surprised what I see now. It's really back then. You know, my dad's day, they were kind of low key, you know, those who needed to know, kind of like a need to know basis. But now, you know, cats got, I mean, they had ID tags, you know, license tags, but now it just seems really, really out there, really, really out there. It seems to be a different breed of person involved. But hey, that's my take. Hey, we're on the air. Got to call you back. But would you like to join us? Because there's a lot to talk about in your neck of the woods. You want me to send you the link? I'll do it. I'll do it right now. So we've been covering some of the developments, folks, politically. But let me get back to my list of women. Now, always acknowledge my mama. Got to acknowledge my mama first and my grandmamas. And big ups to the women in my family. My mother's name was Lily Glover, by the way. But who I first acknowledge beyond my family, man, my favorite absolute of all time, y'all already know, Araminta Ross, aka Harriet Tubman. Now, on one of these platforms, I put up once that Harriet Tubman freed 1,000 enslaved people. Harriet Tubman freed 1,000 people. I wrote that down, and one of these social media platforms said that I put out there some misinformation. And I said, do tell. We find that more and more now that African Americans in particular, I'm not sure how it is for other races, I haven't heard. But I know for African Americans, it is common to hear of people of color blocked in jail, social media jail. Really? It's America is already 5% of the world's population, but we incarcerate 25% of the world's inmates. And social media in America is incarcerating even more. Tell them to fact check that. I haven't seen you on social media. I've been in jail. Social media jail? Really? Who does that? Oh, the same people pushing the critical race theory. Right? Right? Well, anyway, tell you about Harriet Tubman. She freed 300 enslaved people on her own. And then with the help of the Union Army, because Harriet Tubman worked for the U.S. Army, she was a spy, the equivalent of a Navy SEAL. And I'll tell you why I said that, because in one incident in the Combahee River, South Carolina, Harriet Tubman helped free 700 enslaved Africans at one time. So, Mr. Social Media, 300 plus 700 is 1,000 all day long and twice on Sunday. Therefore, Harriet Tubman, as she stated, freed 1,000 slaves, and she could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. And that it's that last part that seems to resonate with generations that have followed. If only they knew they were slaves. And it makes you think that maybe there were people who could have been free, but kind of like the elephant with a little rope around its ankle tied to a pole, this huge elephant doesn't realize that this thing holding him in prison, in slavery, can be broken just like that. There's a meme that's gone around for years, and it has around the table these black people, but instead of them standing up, they're bent over all around the table, and the caption says, nobody can ride your back if you're not bent, so just stand up. And it was the meme, you know, the blacks were bent over like this, and they were holding the board up, they were holding the world up. All they had to do was stand up. I don't think you were born, I was born, anybody was born to be somebody's slave, regardless of what the El Sicko who's doing the enslaving thinks. But nobody was born to be a slave. Nobody was born to be trafficked. Anyway, I digress. Harriet Tubman, besides the women in my family, my matriarchs, grand matriarchs, Harriet Tubman is probably, undoubtedly, my number one woman hero. Another hero, and I share this often, talking about women heroes, is Maggie Lena Walker. And I talk about her in my book. I also allude to Harriet Tubman in my book. Not much. I note in this book how Harriet Tubman was friends with one of the heroes in this book, a white man. So yes, there's a white hero in this book. I know a lot of my non-Black followers have written a couple of comments that this book is racist. Well, these are people who are just a little too sensitive for my taste buds. You feeling that sensitive, then go undo some of that critical theory books that you've banned in America. Freedom of speech, my God, where do these people crawl out from under? But anyway, Harriet Tubman is noted in my book as a friend, specifically as a friend of Captain John Brown, one of the heroes. But another woman who is listed in here, and by the way, there wasn't just a Black Wall Street in Tulsa. There was also a Black Wall Street in Richmond. And it was made famous by the woman I'm alluding to. It was helped made famous by one of the women I'm alluding to. Her name is, in Richmond, Jackson Ward. They call her Maggie Lena Walker. And recently they did a unveiled a statue in honor of Maggie Walker. We have actually done, I mentioned we're having a Black Wall Street tonight at Hoodfellas at 6 p.m. We've done a Black Wall Street there in Richmond, there in Jackson Ward. Special thank you to Teresa Davis, who was very instrumental in helping that happen, helping to make that happen a couple of years back. But Maggie Lena Walker, why is she one of my heroes? Why do I put her up there with Harriet Tubman? Well, it's just in sync with the mission of I Am Black Wall Street, the various Black Wall Street movements around the country. Maggie Lena Walker, simply put, was the first woman to charter a bank in America, the first woman of any race. So, you know, when I think about what Black people have gone through in this country, when I think about what women have gone through in this country, just to be, not even to achieve, just to be. You think of the obstacles, the racism, you know, the advantages given to non-Blacks, like the Homestead Act, which gave away half of the Midwest to non-Blacks. When Blacks went to go get their piece, oh, no, you can't have now. Okay, I say, no, you can't have it. You can't have it. No, you can't. Why? Because you Black. No, racism is so stupid, so silly, so taxing, so tiring. Makes you wonder, where did these people crawl from up under? Kind of like the people I see parading through my neighborhood here in Sandtown. I'm a majority, 99.99999% Black community, but we're seeing more and more non-Blacks not only buying drugs, not only shooting drugs, not only dropping their needles, but sleeping in vacants. And if you live anywhere around vacants, you know what comes with vacants. Not just the drug traffic, but the fires. Okay, so I told you about Harriet Tubman, Maggie Lena Walker. You know, another lady who came to mind, Black queen who came to mind, was Mary McLeod Bethune. Down in Florida, they have a historically Black college called Bethune-Cookman. Elementary school classmate, William White, went to Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman, what's his name? Mary McLeod Bethune. One of the things that most impressed me about Mary McLeod Bethune down there in Florida, we talk all about Florida. If you read this book, you'll find out that the first wave of Black people that got to Oklahoma came by way of Florida. thanks to Chief John Horse and the Black Seminoles, soldiers, not slaves, soldiers who fought for their freedom, went on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma, Florida. So much history. When you think back and how all of these pieces fit together, you realize that American history we've not even gotten a solid dose of American history, truth be told. There's so much we just don't know. But anyway, Mary McLeod Bethune built the Daytona School for Girls in Florida. And this is, 1900s. What I remember is this one photo with her standing with a long line of girls who were students in her school. And it's just, you think back to all that we've accomplished despite the racism, the lynchings, the terrorism by the Ku Klux Klan. A lot of people still saying Ku Klux Klan. It's Ku Klux Klan. Go look it up. We just some phenomenal people. Had a chance to talk to my dear friend Conan last night. Needed to check on him, hadn't talked with him in a while. Conan had been through some storms. Most recently, he lost his brother. Well, anyway, we got to talking, and I am reminded that another woman who certainly is to be admired, lifted up, is Kathy Hughes. I did a radio show. Matter of fact, much of my experience came out there at Radio One. I did a show out there for 21 years, longest running customized show in the nation. That means we had sponsors. Longest running in the nation, 21 years, right here out of Baltimore. So I'd have to put Kathy Hughes up there, along with Dorothy Brunson, the first Black woman in America to open a radio station. She did so in Philadelphia, Baltimore, I want to say New York, I'm not sure. But we do know that she was a part of owning WEBB. Dorothy Brunson, media icon. So before there was a Kathy Hughes, there was a Dorothy Brunson. And you got to love that. As the father of a daughter, as the father of a young lady entrepreneur, young woman entrepreneur, I'm reminded of these examples. My mom's, your Kathy Hughes, your Harriet Tubman, Maggie Walker, leader women, warrior queens who did astounding things. I think of, we have Kamala Harris now. How many of you know the first Black woman to run for president? The first Black woman, who was she? Her name was Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm. You can't forget, if you're talking about voting, I will tell you probably, quite possibly, the toughest, most gangster of them all, I'm going to venture to say Fannie Lou Hamer. She said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. How many of you have heard that before? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Fannie Lou Hamer from the Mississippi Democratic Freedom Club. They pushed a national platform. No doubt her and Shirley Chisholm, I'm sure their paths overlapped. But these were iconic women. Also think of Madam C.J. Walker and her mentor. Madam C.J. Walker and her mentor. Madam C.J. was very, very colorful. But a mentor was, operated a little differently. Annie Turnbow Malone. She started a series of colleges, beauty colleges. Annie Turnbow Malone, very industrious, millionaire. Now, the challenge that historians have come across in qualifying Annie Turnbow Malone as a millionaire was her method of keeping records. And I think that's the one challenge we had. But she was obviously well off, built colleges. What I most remember and love about the story of Annie Turnbull Malone is how she helped empower others. She deputized others. And if you ask me, that was the foundation of an industry that is just starting to lose its wings. I'm talking about the black beauty industry. Black women created it. Black women created the black beauty industry. But today, everybody and their mother is making money off of this industry. An industry that is changing the way black women look at themselves. You know, you see people going down the street. Well, I'm not going to touch that. Good morning, Mr. Rico. Rico Crawley. Peace and blessings. Let me give you some modern day women history. Miss Beverly Smith. She's one of our show hosts. She does a show. What day is Beverly's show? Sunday mornings, right after Martin Mitchell. And Beverly is an icon. She supports our Black Wall Street Southeast over in Washington, D.C. If you've listened to previous broadcasts, you know I'm a big fan of Southeast Washington, D.C. It reminds me of Baltimore. The challenges, the spirit. You know, I'm going to tell you this, and it's obvious. Wherever the challenges are the worst for black people, no matter what the television station tells you, there is an indomitable spirit in black people that refuses to quit, refuses to lose, refuses to acquiesce to somebody else's tired way of looking at things. So big ups to those women and the many other warrior queens straight out of the black community. I think of my second and third grade teacher, Miss Frances Parks, or the lady who taught me how to read officially, Dorothy Williams. A-E-E. Remember that? I-E-O, I-U-A, and sometimes Y. Do you remember being taught to read? Was it a woman who taught you? It was a woman who taught me, Miss Dorothy Williams. Fourth grade, I had Miss Nottingham. I didn't understand Miss Nottingham until well into my 30s. And then one day I saw her. And she explained to me she wasn't trying to be mean. She explained to me that she was challenging us for the difficult road ahead. God rest you, Miss Nottingham. That's Eddie Nottingham's mother. Eddie and I played James Mosher baseball together. I think he played for either the Athletics or the Cardinals. Whoever he played for, we spanked them on a regular basis. Big ups to James Mosher baseball. And I don't know the lady's name, but it was the lady who helped start James Mosher baseball. She called the men folk in. She was the principal at 144, and she insisted they do something. And so Mr. Alan Meacham, the last remaining co-founder who just went home not long ago, he and the other co-founders listened to this woman principal at 144 and followed her instructions and built James Mosher Little League. What we've come to know as James Mosher Little League, established back in 1960, over 60 years of history, 62 years of black history. We consider it the oldest black little league in America. No one has shown me otherwise thus far. We're always open to learn. But in any event, James Mosher baseball touched a lot of lives. As a matter of fact, last night I bumped into one of our home run kings there, Brian Easley. He hit a mini home run down at James Mosher. So I wanted to share with you politically. Got some news for you politically. out the Liberty Road corridor, and I'm just about done. We thought Jay Jalisi was running for state senate. Well, I thought he was running for delegate. People out there thought he was running for state senate. Jay Jalisi is running for Congress. Almost knocked me out my chair. That means Jay Jalisi will be running against Kwaisi. Now, he's going to get his feelings hurt in this first election. Jay Jalisi is going to get stomped in his first election, more than likely. However, how many of you know the election is every 2 years? Jay Jalisi is positioning himself right now to be congressperson of a black district, Liberty Road, in 2 years. I'm pretty sure he's going to get mud holes stomped in him in this election. It's only common sense. But in 2 years, will Kwaisi still be in the race? There's been no young black groom for this position. Technically, everybody's running for this and this and that. How many of our people are ready to go to Congress and represent us? You know, a lot of times we get in, we don't want to go beyond this position. We want to, it's public service. And when the opportunity comes, you got to answer the call. And if you're not about public service, then don't get into politics. If you're not willing to sacrifice and give it your all and do the damn thing correctly, don't do it at all. Do it or don't do it at all. But don't do it halfway and expect people to respect it, because they won't. My name's Donnie Glover. Do check out, I want to go through the shows because I got leaned on by one of my teammates yesterday. I didn't have my full list in front of me, but I got it for you today. Okay, so on Sundays, 9 o'clock, Martin Mitchell, People Over Politics. 9 a.m., Martin Mitchell, coming out of Prince George's County. At 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, we got the Beverly Smith Show, straight out of Washington, D.C. Monday through Thursday, 9 o'clock, this hour, I do the Donnie Glover Show. On Friday, Janet Arce, an extraordinary woman who serves the Latino community, is doing her second episode of Hablando con Janet, Speaking with Janet. So Monday through Thursday, I have the 9 o'clock hour. Janet now has Fridays, Hablando con Janet, Janet Arce. She's a Boricua. She's from Puerto Rico. That's Friday. 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday, Mr. William Honeyblue. 12 noon, Monday through Friday, straight out of Los Angeles, California, Troy Rollins, the Troy Rollins Show. Now, on Tuesdays at 1, starting 2 days ago, or yesterday, Deborah Hardnett is doing a show at 1 o'clock. And then on Fridays, I know how to mess this all up. I just had to put the thing up. Fridays at 1 o'clock is Willie Flowers with the Maryland NAACP report. Now let's go through the Monday night lineup. Frontline News with Yolanda Pulley at 6 p.m. Shared Space with Dave and Quita, and the Robert Report, Monday, 8 o'clock, Robert, Washington. On Tuesday, 7 to 9, we got Marsha Jews. 9 o'clock, we got Dirk and Donnie. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, we got Carla, Conference Room Conversations with Carla Nelson and Michelle Howard, followed by Transit Equity at 8 o'clock. And that includes Samuel Jordan and Minister Glenn Smith. Did I get it right, Glenn? Did I get it right, Glenn? Did I get it right, Glenn? I got it right, Glenn. Thursday, live from Oakland, California, Doug Blackshear and Dr. Ashley Coleman. They do the Black Business Roundtable. On Friday, you got Black USA Crypto News with Kamal Hubbard. And then on Saturday, we got Tasmir at 10:15. Tasmir gathers Blackout Live from New York. At 6 o'clock, we got Joey Noble, Street Services out of Miami. And then we have Erica Alston. And I may have messed that up. I may have made one mistake in that, but you just keep on watching this network and we'll keep on bringing you shows. My name's Donnie Glover. Stay tuned for Mr. William Honblue coming up at 10 o'clock. Hey, listen, we have a couple more shows coming on. One show we had to hold off on, and I want to share this with you because the host told me they needed some time to get their self together. Life had happened. You got it, Donnie Ball. I'm going to translate. Okay, Minister Glenn Smith, because that's a big fella. I don't want this big guy come looking for me. But people are going through it out here. People have died. People are still dying. COVID, non-COVID. And so a prayer for people and the stuff that they're going through right now. You know, may God bless you and hold you and keep you. Pick up the phone. I was glad to talk to Conan last night. I did not know his brother had passed, the fire chief. Call and check on your loved ones. People are leaving it. When it's over, it's over. If you can squash any grudges, then do so. Trash man's coming. Thank you to the Baltimore City Trash Department, DPW. Donnie Glover out. Have a good day.